Hello and welcome to UAT Time within the United Countries Special by First Ukraine. You can find us on the frequencies available on our website firstuat.com. I'm Sergey, Velichanskiy.
And I am Olivier Vedrine. UAT Time is dedicated to bring Ukraine and Europe closer to each other by introducing the real Ukraine to the rest of the world.
As you know, we have joined a world campaign, Let My People Go. 25 Ukrainian citizens have been illegally detained and kept on the Russian territory at this time. 25 is the number of people that we know of. Could there be more? You can never be sure when dealing with Russian-backed terrorists. You can find more info on the hashtags Free Savchenko and Let My People Go. And let's come back to the show today. He appeared in Ukraine 2 years ago as someone who identified the firearms and ammunition which killed protesters on Maidan. Then he was present in the media when Crimea was invaded, and he became known as someone who commented on the downing of MH17.
Our guest today is Edmond Huet, a French living in Kyiv, a firearms expert and a businessman. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for stopping by.
Bonjour Sergey, bonjour Olivier.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. All right. Now, well, there are a lot of subjects that you have spoken about. So what do you want to start with?
Actually, maybe with the reason of my presence
yes,
here.
your presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I discovered the history of Ukraine, and that was for me only a republic of Soviet Union when I was a French soldier 36 years ago in French forces in Germany. But a few years ago, 5 years ago, I had a mission in automotive industry in Russia, and I started to get interest into into Russia and Ukraine, the history of these two countries. Mm-hmm. When Maidan started, I was avid of any news coming out of Ukraine. And there were a few channels in English at that moment, and I followed the Maidan press that was created at that moment. And when the events were becoming dramatic, and there were the first killed people on Maidan, and all the history that we know, mm-hmm. that the Yanukovych administration pretended that there was no lethal firearms used, mm-hmm. and only riot control projectiles. Yes. I knew it was a lie for a few reasons. My activity has been for the past 15 years in defense industry. I'm mainly active in industries, and this is one of the industries I've been active and created a company. And so when I saw that, I saw that they were using, in fact, real guns with real projectiles, the type used to kill the wild boars, the big games. Mm. And at that moment, the administration pretended that we don't use any hunting shotgun. Yeah. But the repeating pump action riot gun used by the police uses the same type of ammunition than a hunting shotgun. Mm-hmm. And I knew through my activity that a small workshop in Kyiv was working exclusively for the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and that developed a special projectile, an engine blockbuster, used to shoot at the bonnet of a car trying to force a roadblock, mm-hmm. that would destroy the engine. And the first index I have was seeing the recoil of some of these guns used by the Berkuts. Okay. And then after that, some impacts on the window frame, the aluminum window frame in shops, and the walls. And then when I talk about that and I expose my credential to the people of Maidan press, they began to send me some documents for analysis and to have my comment and my advice. That's how I found out that it was a lie. Then after that, I identified some type of weapon that should have never been on spot. Yeah. So this is how I arrived here, because when Yanukovych fled, I decided to volunteer to be an international observer for the incoming presidential election. I was accepted, and I started to slowly think of staying here. Mm-hmm. Discovering the country. I knew the west of the country. At that moment, I discovered Kyiv. And so I was thinking to come here, and I did it.
And another very, very big event, and you took part in the analysis of this very big and dramatic event. This is the MH17.
For the MH17,
And your analysis is right, because now in the final report, they say the same that you said.
I received a call from Ulysse Gossec, who is a well-known reporter in France, and who told me that Nathalie Pasternak, the leader of the Ukrainian community in France, had given him my name, saying that I was following the events here. I knew Ukraine, and my specialty was armament. And so at that moment, when it happened, there was immediately a live show on BFM TV, Business FM TV in France. And they asked me to come. I could not come immediately, but I already gave my comments on phone, and I spent the day after with them, and I explained what was my opinion based on all the elements we had at that moment.
And you were right, because now the final report
absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because almost 300 people died, 298 people died. I would have preferred to be wrong, but this is a crime.
Yeah.
This is a crime, this is a war crime, and it's still unpunished. And all the investigation, the final report of the Dutch investigation, have proven me right on all points. You can still see the interview at BFM and see what I said at that moment, and I had to face a lot of people who were speaking for Russia.
And in this report made by Netherlands, yes, all the points, it's the same analysis, same conclusion than you did.
Absolutely, it was quite easy for many reasons. First, with my activity, the way I was involved with your Maidan press, we had so many followers and members who were working with us, bringing us a mass of information on any topic. That day, when the MH17 was shut down, we had people who were members of your Maidan press and who were in the area, in the region where the book launcher was. That's why we could trace the path of the launcher back to Russia. And 1 hour before I left my home to go to the show on BFM TV, we knew already that the book was going to the border by chance, and because the people of Paris Match, the French media, did a very good investigative job and they followed their intuition, we know now that the book had been taken to Russia on a flatbed trailer that had been taken from a company that ran this type of vehicle, usually to carry construction cranes. And they could follow this truck, take pictures. The advertising, the logo on it was the same than the one of the company from Donbass. And some dashboard camera the day after in Russia had shown the book launcher driving on the road to Rostov.
Wow. Now, but my question is this. If the investigation is done and the reports is out there published, why the people in Netherlands, not many know of that. They still, I mean, there's still a lot of Russian propaganda that portrays Ukraine as the one who is guilty for, downing of MH17. People in Europe, even people in Ukraine. Like, I don't know why this major investigation report is not made in such a way public that like everyone knows Russia is at fault.
I am totally agree with you.
But it's not exactly that. First, the report can be accessed. If if nothing is done to communicate on the fact that is publicly accessed, nobody will. That's one thing. The second thing is the report is a technical report. It's an investigation report. It's not a court. It's not a court verdict. It means that they found out everything. For example, when Russia claimed with many lies that first it had been damaged by a Ukrainian book. Ukraine supplied the type of book they used to the investigators, and so they could analyze them and compare, for example, with the shrapnel, with the fragment found in the structure of the MH17, in the bodies of the killed people, especially the crew, the captain, and they saw two things. First, the shrapnel, the fragments that were inside the body of the captain, were of a specific shape that he used only in the book M12. M12 is the Russian book made after the separation of Ukraine from the former Soviet Union. That's one thing. And the metallurgy of the shrapnel is different from the metallurgy of the former version that is still in use with Ukraine. That's one first thing. The second thing is Girkin, also known as Strelkov, threatened everybody, do not cross the Donbass sky. It was shown on public networks like the Vecontact, the Russian Facebook. They show the book they had. And then the moment they shot down the MH17, they thought they had shot an Antonov, an aircraft belonging to the Ukrainian Air Force, until somebody of the DNR went to the site where it crashed and said it's full of civilians. It's full of toys, civilians, foreign passports, and this communication was on a mobile phone, not crypted, not securized, and it had been intercepted by the SBU. It means they knew what they had done. That's one thing. And they had published already a comment on their page claiming victory on Ukraine. Second, and another thing is about the media, is Russian TV channels as well claim that the separatists, the so-called separatists, had shot down an Antonov of the Ukrainian Air Force. Then they simply suppress this article online, but already internet as a memory, millions of people see it, so everybody knew they had withdrawn this comment. And finally, we know, even now with the open source intel, that we even know, in fact, the unit that had served the book. Someone called Bellingcat, the site has done a wonderful job of investigation. And so we know everything about what happened.
It's interesting how those guys sometimes, you know, make selfies and make the pictures of themselves.
They didn't stop. You know, the FSB and GER, who have withdrawn almost 10,000 profiles from Vecontact. But still some people, friend of friends, are publishing, and so you have the geolocation. They even know who they are, their unit, and the place where they were. When they are, for example, bragging that they have spent the night, they are tired, they have spent the night shelling the ukrop. And you have the geolocation of the comments on the site. You know exactly where they were. One thing I would like to add is even long after the investigation report had been released, Russia has tried to, again, muddy the water with lies. First, they had said that it was a Sukhoi that had shot down at the MH17. The Sukhoi, in only one case, is able to carry an air-to-air rocket. It's in case of fighting against combat helicopters. Modern combat helicopters are very dangerous for aircraft like Sukhoi that works at low altitude to support troops. And so there is a defense air-to-air rocket on the Sukhoi. But if you had the maximum ceiling, the altitude where the Sukhoi is able to go, and you added the range of this missile, you still miss a few thousand meters to be able to reach MH17 at the altitude it was flying. Then after that, they say they had a picture of, they had another one, they had an alleged air controller of Dnipropetrovsk, saying he was an Italian, and he had received a phone call for someone who was in a plane. The problem is there is no Italian citizen in the air control. And the second thing is it was not Dnipropetrovsk that was in control of the MH17 at that moment, but Rostov, the air controller in Russia. I would like to add one thing. It's very easy to go onto internet, and the same site that supply you the movement of ships, for example, maritime movements, you have the same for aircraft.
Yeah.
And you could see that the Russians had closed a few air routes along the border between Russia and Ukraine at that moment.
Yes.
They knew there were some very dangerous harms in the end of some people in Donbass, and they didn't want to take the risk to have one of them, one of their own planes, shot down. There is a rumor, but it will never be proved unless we can find some archive after the Second World War. It will never be proved, but there is another rumor that a charter plane from Cyprus to Moscow was the target to be shot and given an excuse to a reason to the Russian to invade. But so far,
you're right. This is only a rumor now, but you're right. Yes,
but
totally right.
What we can see, it's lies, lies, lies. The lies change, but it's still a lie. And the final one was they had a picture of a jet plane, a Hunter, and no more a strike plane, no more a ground attack plane. They had a picture taken from a satellite. Of course, an American satellite, and American dissimulated it, and they show the silhouette of Sukhoi or MiG and the MH17.
Yeah.
And I'd been called at that moment on the French radio to debunk this lie that was spreading like a wildfire in the forest or in the steppes. And in fact, if you just made a calculation of the size of the planes, respectively. The Russian-made Ukrainian plane was something like 70 meters long. The scale between them was not good. The place where it was taken is not the right one because the airport we see on the satellite is a long distance from this place. The weather is perfect, clear, no cloud, but that day there were a lot of clouds.
Yeah. Well, here is the thing, especially this first year after it had happened, so many lies have been broadcasted, and I mean, sometimes it even seemed that they didn't care if people believed that lie. They just wanted to put out a new one to overwhelm the people.
Two reasons.
Yes.
One reason is the domestic use. They are eating their own population. They need an external enemy. So when you listen to the channels in Russia or you browse for a while on the Russian internet, you have the feeling of being bipolar. There is one reality and there is another one. And having access to so many sources, we know there are lies, but those people, they have no lies. The second thing is you have so many people called complotists, so many people who are by nature anti-Europe, anti-Westerners, anti-Atlantist, anti-NATO, anti-American. They will believe anything they are fed with.
Yes, exactly. But my point is what should be done and what is being done in France and in Europe to prevent the Russian propaganda to be so successful?
We have European Union with the representative of the foreign policy now is making a great strategy for counter-propaganda in European Union. But you know, the problem is on internet, the supporter of Putin, and I say extreme right party, some extreme left party members, they are very, very active, very active. They are very few, but very active. And that's mean, for me, you know, I have some figures and some pool that 70% of Frenchmen think that Putin is a threat for Europe and for France, 70%. But the person who are in favor of Putin, they are very, very active on the internet. That's why it's very difficult to face. But we have a strategy in European Union to face that. This is the responsible of foreign policy, Mogherini, this woman who take care of that. But you know, you cannot face individuals. You know, this is very difficult.
Sure. Sure. Well, but that's why I'm asking about the system.
You have one thing is the fact that you have a propaganda machine that has a huge budget in
Yes,
Russia.
that's true.
We know the famous factory troll
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
St. Petersburg. And then you have many people spreading immediately these rumors. So for example, when something is going out, you can see that it already, there is a buzz on thousands of sites. You have people who are paid to comment all the day. When you have a comment showing that there are lies, the Guardian has been obliged to disconnect, to deactivate the comment section, because every time there was an article about the MH17 showing the elements from the report, the investigation report, there were 30,000 to 40,000 comments in 24 hours.
Yes.
It means there was a flood of comments, and even someone who is intellectually honest, without any a priori ideas, who want to check to make his own opinion is completely disgusted.
Yes.
You cannot search in this mud.
But for example, you, Edmond, you had some attack because of your analysis on them.
Personally, I'm under attack permanently. It went up to a real death threat in real life. You must know that there are some people, propagandists, working for Putin propaganda in Donbass, some French people. They named themselves journalists, and they spend their time attacking anybody who is Ukrainian, French, or taking side with Ukraine for the fight. I personally have absolutely no link with Ukraine, genetic link, family link, or other, except that my great-grandfather fought in Sebastopol, like so many French, with Napoleon III. And so, I'm personally not the only one under attack. My name, because I appear openly, when I began to give testimony about what I could state here, about what happened on Maidan, about the election where I was an observer. And then I've been involved here in a think tank, one of them being even under the Presidential Administration Authority, due to my activity where we had some project they needed my technical competencies to start an ammunition production here. The project didn't materialize, but I appear in show like yours, because until now, all my comment, I stand by my comment. I'm not an anonymous troll. Everybody knows me. I'm a real person. And I try to speak in simple words to explain some complicated technical matters sometimes. So automatically, I'm the black beast for these people. And I know that regularly now I'm up to 20 sites, half of them Russian, attacking me personally, on my personal life, on everything. I'm supposed to be a NATO senior agent, a CIA agent, paid by the European Union, belonging to the political police of President Poroshenko. There's just one thing, I would like them to give me the address and the name of person to claim for all my service.
Yes, exactly.
The bank account, please.
Well, it's like, where is that? What's the bank account? Who do I apply for? Who do I get that money
But
from?
you know, we are, for the Frenchmen or the foreigner who are supporting Ukraine, for those persons, they are all a CIA agent or European agent. This is very normal.
And it began when I participated already to the action with no Mistral for Putin. At that moment, I appeared like many other people. I'm a real person. I have no shame to speak the truth, and I have no fear to speak the truth.
Well, time is up, as always, but thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
All right.
Merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you. Yes, please check us on the Facebook, facebook.com/FirstUA channel. Find us and tell us what you think, and stay with us. All right. It was United Country UAT time by First Ukraine. Our guest was Edmond Huet, a French living in Ukraine, firearms expert and a businessman.
Olivier Vedrine and Sergey Velichanskiy were working for you in the studio. Stay with us and we will show to you the real Ukraine.
Thank you for being with us. Have a good day and see you soon.